Why hello there, fellow vampiric blacksmiths, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to V Rising, Episode 4, Firing Up the Smelter for Copper. And I'm going to have you guys vote on next priority if you want to continue hunting V-Bloods or pivot and do something else. Totally up to you. So as a result, we gained access to the workshop floors, so we can now build a proper workshop. The assortment of storage shelves for herb, consumables, knowledge, tailoring, and alchemy, which is going to be really important for us and our organization. Target dummies to measure damage and combos and things like that. And then the ability to make whetstones in the furnace, as well as an illusion spell point, which I'll have you vote on how we modify our ability in a minute. Now, I'm relatively low on the blood that I've got, so I also should look for my next blood victim, because we're down to a quarter tank. Smashing boxes does give you a chance to get resources, yeah. Alright, so research desk. Here's the Marauder boots. And simple carpets. Now, if we go to, let's take this stuff. If we go to foundations and workshop flooring, with the planks that we have, we can put workshop flooring down, and we only gain the benefit of workshop flooring when it's all of the spots are floored. So while I'm here, having just unlocked that, because it's really not a lot of resource grinding, I'm just going to build a workshop. And this should be done in just a moment. Alright, looks like you guys want me to fetch resources needed for a project. So let's go ahead and try to fetch what we need for the teleporter. Right? So the current priority is going to be build the castle teleporter, which in my case actually requires me to go kill a boss, because being able to make grave dust is going to be kind of important for that project. And we're almost done with our workshop. There we go. So now, instead of taking 20 planks to make, 20 wood to make a plank, it takes 15 because it has matching floors. And the same is true of everything in the workshop. So, for instance, the Merciless Copper Sword, actually, that doesn't benefit. Why not? Oh, because it's a forge. Derp. Yeah. Let's pretend I didn't make that mistake. I was thinking that that was the woodworking. But there we go. We have a proper workshop. And that's going to be really handy when it comes to resource grinding for castle building and the like. All right, let's go ahead and... I do have now the storage objects for all of the types of storages, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. I'm just going to be dumping things away. For the spellbook, we have 3 choices. So we have got Spectral Wolves. Sends out a Spectral Wolf that bounces to nearby enemies after each hit Up to 2 additional hits, does magic damage, and subsequent hits do less, and then inflicts weaken, and grants a stack of Phantasm. We also have Wraith Spear, which dashes towards the input direction and launches a piercing projectile, dealing damage and inflicting weaken. And then, last but not least, Phantom Aegis. Phantom Aegis applies a shield to self or ally to defend 100% of 180% of spell damage, inflicting weaken on nearby enemies, and the shield lasts for 2 seconds. So like a somewhat homing, bouncing projectile, a piercing projectile, or a target area shield weaken AoE. And while you vote on that, for us to be able to make Grave Dust for the teleporter, I need to kill Goreswine the Ravager. So that is my next goal. And luckily for me, graveyards in this game are usually shaded. So he's to the south, very far away. So he's somewhere around... We could try... Well, we'll just travel the way the blood draws us. But it looks like you guys want Spectral Wolf. Cool. And I'll show you what that looks like now. Sometimes you can like wedge yourself into a resource node and not take sun damage, which is what I'm doing now. Because without spoiling too much, gemstones for the tutorial progress that we're trying to make are going to become increasingly more important. I did mention this before. And then also I need to be on the lookout for blood, because I'm very low on my current pool. So it seems to me like, I need to be heading more west. Have I tried to make multi-level castles? Not on stream, no. In my own time, yes. Typically, what I will do in terms of castle design is the parts of the castle, like resource gathering and the like, that I interact with the most, I like to put on to the, 38 rogue? That will work. I like to put on the bottom floors, and then things like the servants' quarters or garden, perhaps, I'll put on like the upper levels. But unless I'm lacking, unless I need space for something, I typically don't use... Oh, Alpha's over there. I typically don't use multi-level castles all that much. Just personal preference and all. So here is Alpha the White Wolf again. And you can farm bosses you've killed before for resources and drops. It's not necessarily a bad idea, to be honest. Because extracting a V-Blood's blood will, like, knock all the trees over, and you'll maybe get some good... Like, sometimes you can get good hearts from them, which we haven't actually used yet, but we will in the... soon. I just wanted to make a point that it is, indeed, they're worth farming. So the undead will summon a bunch of adds, so AoE attacks work very well on them. But because they don't have blood, leeching attacks are like maybe less effective. And the skeleton priests are the summoners for all like the annoying little skeleton adds. I guess you can still leech them. Oh good, moon rising. Oh, and we got a book for forge flooring. Awesome. What is going on down here? Oh, Gorspine's out here? And he's basically dead? I mean... okay. I almost feel bad. He's not supposed to be out here. I'm honestly not sure why he is. But, whatever. Easiest boss fight ever.
Thank you.
I feel stronger.
Love when the bosses die to the environment. Yep. What was strange in this case is something lured him, like... oh. Well, when in Rome...
Take me on, huh? That's a gamble.
Is it a gamble, though? So, Lydia is one such enemy that has a patrol pattern. So she doesn't have a specific location that you can find her. She moves around. But because she's roughly my gear level, might as well kill her. Also, if you may have noticed, even when she's like doing her little invisibility thing, you can still hit her. And down she goes too.
Never lost before. At anything.
And more Unsullied Hearts. Cool. Oh, a 50% warrior? Let's punch him. There we go. Make sure not to hit like a high quality blood target when they're wounded with like an actual weapon. You might just smoke them to death. Alright, so what do we get? Lydia the Chaos Etcher gave us the Devour, which is like a garbage shredder. The leather working station, a leather bag for more inventory slots, a longbow, and a chaos spell point. And then Goreswine gave us a tomb to be able to summon skeletons to farm for bones, a graveyard decor, a gravedigger ring for spell power, grave dust, and the ability to raise skeletons and ghouls to farm them, plus an unholy point. So let's first decide on our unholy point, because I killed them first. So, spell from Goreswine. We've got Corrupted Skull. So the Corrupted Skull launches a projectile that does low magic damage, but it does summon a skeleton. It's worth noting at this point that against some bosses, summons are really, really effective so that you can drop aggro. So for instance, if you're trying to heal yourself, summoning skeletons can be very important because the boss will then target the skeleton over you, giving you time to rest, recover, etc. Like cooldowns. setup. Bone Explosion is another one. So, raises a bone pile that explodes and inflicts Condemn. So, Condemn increases all damage dealt to your enemies by 15% for 5 seconds. And then the last one... Oh, let me type this up. Is the Bone Ward of the Damned, which blocks, and when you block, it summons a skeleton. So this is a counter, which also summons skeletons. Thumb on the scale a little bit. I really like Ward of the Damned. It's not to say that you have to vote for me to unlock it, but it's a fun ability. Because not only do you block an enemy's attack, but you summon an enemy in as a result, which can be way fun, making certain boss fights easier. Alright, well, we have a fresh blood pool of 50% warrior blood, which is not bad. And let's go back and build the teleporter. Making sure the idiots on our front steps don't get too, Actually, we're not home yet. Thought I was protecting my home. Killing trespassers. I was just killing people for the funs of it. Which, you know, I don't need a reason to kill enemy humans. Alright, looks like I did thumb on the scale pretty hard, but Ward of the Damned, and I'll show you what that does, against the bear that was down here. Hello? That's weird. It, like, didn't work. Well, normally when you raise the shield up, anything that hits your shield will summon a skeleton, and then you can also hit C again to break the shield early, to launch a wave of magical damage that will damage enemies. It's weaker, but it still works. Alright, so the other one we got is the Chaos Magic. So we have Chaos Bolt, which is the Channel 2, or Chaos Volley. I called it a bolt, whatever. The Chaos Volley, which channels 2, which deals Ignite, and Ignite causes damage, like magic damage over time. And then the other one is the Aftershock, which is the, like, line ground attack. So, it's not supposed to be Chaos Bolt, it's Chaos Volley, but you get the idea. Alright, so now that we're back, I might as well let's work on the Waygate. So over here in the grinder, we have a new recipe, the Grave Dust. And for that, we just need to drop bones in the grinder. And because of all the bosses we killed, we ended up with, like, tons of resources from just the environmental damage that we did, which is great. We also got books for forge flooring. And 2 of them. So the other book for forge flooring, we're probably going to want to do something with, like, devour it and turn it into paper. I just don't have a lot of, I don't have the materials for that just yet. I'm missing a little bit of copper. So let's pick up the Gem Dust, Stone Brick, Grave Dust. And here is the Castle Waygate. And I planned on putting the teleporter smack dab in the middle of everything. So now we have a teleporter here in the base, which will make getting home much, much, much easier.
Yet another accomplishment.
The next Lord of the Manor has me building a stone coffin, which requires 2 crude amethyst. I mean, I'm here, might as well do it, and I have the amethyst. So this is like the bed for your character. I don't have a good spot for it, but I'm going to put it here for now and get rid of the old one.
I am ready for a new day. An achievement, to be sure.
And I'm going to flip a coin for the spell. So heads will be Chaos Volley, tails will be Aftershock. Heads. Chaos Volley it is. Alright, what do you want me to do next? Do you want me to build base? Now that we have like forge flooring and a bunch of storages and the like? Do you want me to improve gear? Now that I can make whetstones, I can try to make myself a merciless sword or mace or both. Do you want me to fetch for needed projects? The projects would be the servants projects up here for the servant coffin and the blood press. Do you want me to explore, hunt a new V-blood, etc, etc, etc? It's up to you. And I know nothing's organized, and it won't be until you vote for it. That doesn't belong there. Right, looks like improving the base. Call that one early. So we are going to build a forge and add theme storage. So forge. The forge flooring requires copper ingots and stone brick, and I do not have the copper. So for me to get the copper, I'm going to want to go back to the Bandit Copper Mine and farm some copper while I'm there. One thing that I might want prior... I don't have the whetstone, do I? So in order to make a whetstone, you put copper ingots and stone dust into the forge. But my bottleneck right now is copper ingots, so I don't think I'd be able to do that either. So getting copper serves 2 points, 2 purposes, where I would end up with the materials for whetstone and then also the materials for the forge itself. So let's go ahead and do some copper farming for that. Ooh, these guys are militia. I do not want to fight them. So most of the zone that we're in has bandits, and bandits are like level 16 to like 24 enemies or so. But the militia are like the next tier, and they're a lot more dangerous than the pushover bandits that we typically fight. Ow. That sucked. The entry to this mine was shaded up until like a second ago. And then all of a sudden it wasn't shaded anymore. And I was definitely not, was not adjusted for the change. But we'll go through our blood pool and heal the, Actually, you know what I can do in this case? Once I'm out of combat, is take my Blood Rose Brew. Rather than Blood Mend. So the game's tutorial is trying to tell me to Blood Mend. Well, Blood Mend uses up your blood pool. And if you like the quality of your blood, that's not going to be in your advantage. So it's better to just wait till you're out of combat and use some sort of consumable. And we're mostly healed. Another really important resource is the plants that grow down here. So we should be farming the hell out of those as well. You can see why I like the ward. Having a bunch of skeletons on my side. It's maybe less effective on multiplayer, but on single player, when you're generally the only target for the enemies, being able to summon anything to be able to draw aggro is pretty clutch. And probably the fastest way to get copper, and let's just do it fast, is to re-kill the boss down here and have him blow up on all the copper. So I'm gonna go and do that. That should be the quickest way.
Hate to break it, but your days are numbered. Let's hear that crunch!
I should have dragged him over this way a little bit further before killing him. Oh well.
Taste of knowledge.
2 unsalted hearts. Nice. And merciless longbow blueprints. As well as a hell of a lot of copper ore. Care of him going all bonkers and destroying everything. So yeah, got a lot of copper really, really quickly that way. And that would be my advice, is if you can, I mean, at this point, like, if you're following along, it would not be hard to re-kill a dude who's like 29 or 9 levels lower, and just farming him whenever you need copper. The servants that you see in the taskbar up top are another way to resource grind, and resource grind without you doing the effort. So eventually, getting resources, you can send out your minions to do it for you, which is a really cost-effective way of going about it. Depending on your settings, of course. let's get out of here. There's a lot more resource nodes down here, but I don't need that much copper. Just enough for theme storage and the forge flooring. Plus, I didn't really have any room. Like, I had 4 spots left total. So I would have filled up if I had hit, like, even 1 more node, 2 more nodes. Another thing you might notice me doing is mousing over all of the enemies and encampments, looking for high % blood. Later on, you get the ability to actually see their blood qualities at a distance, so that you don't have to do this practice. But early game, you should always be looking for like 50% plus, especially once you have servant coffins, because the quality of the blood for your servants, if anything, matters more than for the player themselves. Castle Rhadamant. So let's go ahead and make some plain old copper ingots. And then at this point, I might also want... so I'm going to want to get the forge flooring ASAP so that I can smelt more efficiently. So as soon as I have the ability to get forge flooring in there, I should drop forge flooring in there so that I don't waste my copper. So 2 more or 4 more ingots is the bare minimum. And then getting another grinder or another smelter up would be a really good idea as well. So that I can have 2 running at once. Which means all that stone I just dropped in here, let's take that back out. Alright, now that I have the forge flooring, it's 15 copper ore per ingot rather than 20, making it cheaper. And then the next thing I'm going to want to do is to get the whetstones. Well, I think what I'll do is just let the copper get smelted. So there we go, we have a proper forge. And then the simple workshop. One of the other benefits is now the whetstone requirement for these swords is not 12, but 9, because they were reduced as well, because of the fact that this isn't a forge. Alright, the next thing I wanted to build here is the theme storages. So let's collect planks to get all the theme storages constructed, so that I have some semblance of organization. So first one is the herb storage. And for now, I think what I'll do is just line it up in this corner. And eventually it will end up in the associated rooms. So like herb storage will go into alchemy. But one of the nice things, it allows you to automatically move everything into the associated box, which is bound to, making it a lot easier. So I also am going to want the consumable storage, and alchemy storage, tailor storage, knowledge storage, and stuffing it into like one tight corner like this makes it a little bit harder to interact with, but because I don't have a formal spot for any of this stuff, this is fine for now. For the knowledge storage, merciless crossbow I don't know, but these simple garden lanterns I already know. Oh, actually, no, I don't. I should unlock that as well. I was thinking it was the... Here we go. Cool. I already have material storage. Did I think? Yeah, consumables. So I have simple storages for everything. So let's go ahead and organize our stuff. And I'm going to still need, like, other boxes that I don't have associated storages for. So, like, equipment and the like, still I don't really have a spot for. But at least this allows me to put things away where they are appropriate and quickly. And then also gives me a pretty good measure of, like, what I'm missing, what I'm lacking, what I have too much of, etc. So this box can just be like a regular gearbox. And then I'll put my gems there. Cool. And then I'm going to want one other random box for spell gems. The bone chimes and the like. Although this is to Ward of the Damned. Your allied skeletons... shields your allied skeletons hit by the recast. So yeah, let's put that in, considering I like that ability. Might as well get that gemmed up. Great. I'm also gonna want a another box for coins. But I can put that in this small chest too. And like painting frames, I don't. So in the case of like painting frames, which is mostly for aesthetic bonuses, painting frames are made like you can put them in the output slots for your like sawmill or whatever if you just want to like get rid of them and not have to think about it. That way you don't need to find a you know, same with like the stone bodies. But now that we have a lot of copper, I'm going to start making whetstones as well. Thank you for tuning in to V Rising, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow vampires.